Hello, gem hunter. What if that dull, mud-covered stone at the bottom of the river were actually a rare ruby waiting for someone with keen eyes? Most people would pass it by, thinking it's just another ordinary rock. But the experienced hunter knows that the extraordinary often hides in the simple. It's curious. The river doesn't reveal its secrets to those in a hurry. It tests the patience, the gaze, and the intuition of those who dare to seek. And when the sunlight hits it at just the right angle, that discreet glow seems to flicker, as if to say, "Hey, I'm here." In that instant, everything changes. Your heart races, time slows down, and that feeling of unique, almost magical discovery emerges. That's what makes every prospecting worthwhile. The mystery of never knowing when an ordinary stone will reveal a treasure. So now, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because from now on, each topic in this video will teach you to see the invisible, to decipher what the river hides, and to discover riches where no one else looks. While the current carries away what is light, the river holds deep within what is dense, heavy, and precious. It's curious how nature seems to have its own form of wisdom. What shines on the surface is rarely what has true value. Every stone in the riverbed carries an ancient story, shaped by centuries of silence, strength, and patience. If one observes closely, one will realize that the river is like a mirror of life. It hides lessons in every curve, in every sound of the water lapping the banks. The ancients knew this. Riverside peoples, prospectors, and travelers looked to the river not only as a source of sustenance, but as a teacher. They knew that water reveals the character of stones, that clay betrays the presence of metals, and that the color of the current speaks more than 1,000 words. This is why, since ancient times, treasure hunters have learned to listen to the sound of the river before trying to decipher it with their eyes. There is wisdom in realizing that what the river hides is not for those in a hurry, but for those with the soul of a learner. They say that in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and even in the hills of England, many of the world's greatest rubies were discovered this way, by chance, after a heavy rain or a flash flood that stirred the riverbed. Fate, it seems, loves to play with the improbable. A simple fisherman can return home with a fortune in his pocket, and an experienced prospector can spend years searching without finding anything. This teaches a subtle truth. Value lies not only in the discovery, but in the way one searches. Life and the river follow the same course, testing, shaping, and sometimes rewarding attentive eyes. Observing the flow of water, feeling the texture of stones, understanding the silences of the environment. All this is part of the language that few still understand. And it is precisely when someone learns to listen to this silent voice that the generous river decides to reveal what has been hidden for centuries. Few people imagine that the beauty of a ruby arises from a less than glamorous setting. The extreme heat of the Earth's bowels, and the slow dance of time under pressure. Down below, among metamorphic rocks like marble and gneiss, the mineral corundum begins to form. When iron and chromium enter the scene, the intense red color that gives life to the ruby emerges. This natural alchemy occurs silently for millions of years, until erosion, rain, and the force of rivers release small fragments of these rocks, which flow down mountains, break apart, mix with clay, and end up on the banks of streams. Most impressively, when they reach the surface, these crystals remain hidden, trapped inside seemingly worthless stones. It's as if nature has a secret code to protect its jewels, a test to separate the distracted from the curious. The curious thing is that rubies rarely shout their presence. They whisper, a faint reddish reflection in the light, a pinkish stain on the rock, or a moist sheen when the stone is washed with clean water. All of these can be clues. The difference between someone who finds one and someone who passes by lies in their trained eye. Some experienced prospectors say the secret is to see with touch, that is, feel the weight of the rock, notice small imperfections in its texture, and observe how it reflects light. Science confirms, rubies are denser than most common stones. Therefore, a small but surprisingly heavy stone may be hiding a precious crystal within. It's a game of perception and patience, where the greatest treasure is the knowledge accumulated with each attempt. If you've also noticed signs like these, comment below. I want to know if the river has ever shown you something that seemed ordinary, but left you intrigued. There's a kind of poetry hidden in this process. The ruby, before shining in the jewels of kings and queens, was merely an anonymous particle buried in darkness. It underwent heat, compression, and blows, and was finally freed by the force of water, just like the human journey itself. With each revealed fragment, there's a reminder that value doesn't emerge ready-made. It's shaped. Many prospectors tell stories of breaking open an ugly stone out of curiosity, only to find within it red crystals so pure they seem to pulse. It's at this moment that nature shows itself generous, rewarding the curiosity and effort of those who dare to question appearances. And ironically, the ruby worth millions may be there, mixed with stones no one else would notice. That's why real ruby hunters don't look at the ground, they look through its essence. Every rock, every grain of sand, every reflection in the water is a coded message from Earth. Knowing how to decipher these messages is what separates luck from mastery. And the fascinating thing is that the more one understands this secret, the more one realizes that the river is not just a search engine, but an ally. It provides discreet clues, transports valuable fragments, and even cleans the rocks, revealing subtle gleams hidden beneath the silt. There is an invisible dialogue between the water and the rocks, and those who learn to listen to it never see the world the same way again. So, before continuing, leave a like in this video. This is how YouTube understands that you are one of those who see beyond the surface. And get ready, because the next step is to learn how to apply this perspective in practice, directly in the waters that cross your path. Finding rubies hidden in ordinary stones isn't about luck, it's about method. The first step is to learn to observe with the eye of a naturalist, not a tourist. When you reach a river, look for places where the current slows, at bends where the flow deposits heavy sediments. That's where the densest stones, such as those containing corundum, tend to accumulate. Use a simple sieve, the kind with a metal mesh, and filter the gravel from the bottom. Let the water run through your fingers. It will reveal textures, colors, and shine that the mud usually hides. Ruby-bearing stones often have a slightly pinkish or grayish hue, and sometimes exhibit small reddish flecks that only reveal themselves in direct light. It's at that moment that the hunter realizes they're dealing with something different, and you don't need to be a geologist to do this. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and practice. Now, for those who want to go beyond the naked eye, some simple tools can transform the experience. Handbag. Magnifying glass helps identify internal crystals, small prismatic structures, or subtle reddish reflections. A lantern UV can highlight specific highlights that the common eye cannot capture. And if you want to feel like a true explorer, a geologist's hammer, it's essential. It allows you to safely break rocks and examine the interior, where rubies are usually protected. When breaking, wrap the rock in a thick cloth. This prevents splinters and preserves the fragments. When opening, look for crystals with a blood red or intense pink hue. If you see metallic sheens, it's a sign of other minerals. But if the sheen is glassy and deep, there's a good chance you found what you're looking for. Another tip that few share: rubies are rarely alone. Stones of Granada or sapphire, they often appear in the same beds, as they share a similar geological origin. So if you find small dark garnets or bluish fragments, it's a clear sign that the terrain is fertile for rubies as well. Also observe the vegetation. Thick mosses and whitish lichens often grow on rocks rich in aluminum, the same chemical element that forms corundum, the base of rubies. Even the sound of a hammer striking the stone can be a clue. A higher pitched tone indicates a compact structure, while a hollow sound reveals fragile rocks. Notice how nature speaks to those who learn its language. Nothing is there by chance. But the biggest secret is to act with presence. Digging for rubies isn't just about looking for stones. It's about a dialogue with the environment. The river teaches rhythm, the land teaches patience, and chance teaches humility. The true hunter observes, feels, and listens before acting. If you want to practice this eye, start by observing the stones in your own backyard, the gravel on dirt roads, or the banks of nearby streams. Bring a small notebook to note colors, shapes, and textures. This habit will sharpen your perception. And if something stands out, photograph it, share it in the comments, and tell us what you found. Who knows, your discovery might inspire other explorers. Oh, and don't forget, leave a like here in the video. We're here to strengthen the community of those who seek the extraordinary and the simple. Because the next step is to expand this perspective beyond rubies, to other minerals that the river also hides. Besides rubies, rivers hide other treasures that few notice. Stones of granada and sapphire, they often appear in the same riverbeds, as if sharing a secret pact of geological coexistence. Observing the terrain's details, it's possible to identify subtle clues, darker sediments, tiny shimmering mica particles, and even changes in the current that indicate areas of mineral accumulation. Some traditional miners follow the color of the water and the texture of the clay, knowing they reveal what lies buried beneath the surface. Even the surrounding vegetation can be indicative. Certain mosses and lichens grow only on rocks rich in aluminum, essential for the corundum that forms rubies and sapphires. This knowledge, often passed down from generation to generation, reveals that the river is a true living map. Every curve, every stone, and every reflection of light contains a message that only attentive eyes can decipher. It's a game of patience, perception, and connection with the environment, where the hunter learns to interpret signs that seem trivial but hold hidden riches. The river, then, becomes a kind of mirror of the earth, reflecting not only what lies above, but also revealing what the soil silently holds. Every detail, the color of the water, the texture of the sand, the shape of the rocks, and even the presence of small plants, can indicate the presence of valuable minerals. A trained eye notices patterns that others miss. Stones with small red veins may contain rubies, bluish hues reveal sapphires, and small garnets dot fertile areas. Symbolism blends with practice. Those who observe patiently realize that nothing is truly hidden, merely disguised, waiting for those who know how to see beyond the surface. This expansion of possibilities not only increases the chances of finding rubies, but also transforms the way we perceive nature, making each prospect a lesson in attention, observation, and respect for the environment. And if you pay attention, you'll see that the river's signals begin to create a pattern, a silent invitation to continue exploring and discover what else the earth still holds for attentive eyes. How many times has someone passed by a river thinking it was just mud, ordinary stones, and running water, without imagining that treasure might be hidden there? This same logic applies to life. We often overlook opportunities, people, and moments that hold value, simply because we don't stop to look closely. Just as rubies hide beneath the mud, there are talents, passions, and possibilities within us that only reveal themselves when we face challenges and let the current shape us. Every attempt, every mistake, every moment of patience helps to polish what already exists, transforming the simple into the extraordinary. Observing the river and understanding its signs teaches patience, discipline, and above all, the ability to perceive beauty and value where no one else sees. It is an invitation to train our gaze, not just for stones, but for our entire lives, recognizing that every detail has meaning. Those who learn to see the invisible gain not only tangible riches, but a transformative perspective on the world itself. The metaphor extends: the ruby, hidden for centuries, needs time and pressure to reach its perfect form. Just as each person needs to be tested and honed by experience. The river reminds us that value lies not in the obvious, but in what demands attention and dedication. Those who allow themselves to immerse themselves in this process learn to recognize signs, interpret subtle messages, and act consciously rather than reacting impulsively. This philosophy isn't limited to prospecting. It permeates the way we relate, work, and pursue goals. Each discovered stone, each unexpected gleam, is a reminder that patience, observation, and curiosity are powerful tools for transformation. And just like the hunter who learns to read the rivers, the person who learns to read life finds treasures where others only see obstacles. And when one understands this profound connection between sight and perception, the natural impulse arises to apply this knowledge to the next step of the journey. Now is the time to turn knowledge into action. If you're intrigued by what you've learned so far, don't let that curiosity fade away. Comment below. If you've ever noticed something unusual in a river, a rock, or even in your everyday life that seemed ordinary but piqued your interest, every comment is an exchange of experiences, an opportunity to learn from other treasure hunters. And while you observe, don't forget to leave a like in the video. He shows that you're part of a community of people who see the extraordinary in what others overlook. Practice turns theory into mastery. Take a magnifying glass, a small hammer, and a UV flashlight, and test your skills in nearby rivers, streams, and creeks. Try to identify small spots, colored veins, different textures, and the weight of the stones. Record everything. Take photos and share your discoveries. Few know the signs that indicate the presence of rubies, sapphires, or garnets, but now you're part of this select group. Your every step, your every attempt, is a refinement of your gaze, making it more attentive and precise. By engaging, you not only discover minerals, but also develop perception, patience, and connection with nature. And remember, the more you participate, the more you learn, and the more you inspire others to seek the extraordinary. So interact, practice, observe, and always keep your eyes open, because the next video will reveal even more secrets hidden in the rivers, waiting for those who dare to seek them. What if the next time you go to the river, that ordinary stone that almost went unnoticed hides a ruby worth millions? The secret is always in plain sight for those who know how to look. And every detail of the water, mud, and rocks can tell a story few understand. Imagine the thrill of finding something that seemed impossible, simply by training your eye and understanding nature's signs. Now, on your screen, you'll discover 5 everyday stones that hide rare emeralds and diamonds, learning to identify characteristics that most ignore. The river speaks in silence, and those who learn to listen realize that the extraordinary hides in the ordinary, waiting to be revealed. Each discovery is a lesson, each glimmer, a reminder of patience and attention. And as you explore, you realize that nature rewards those who truly connect with it. This is the magic of observation, transforming the ordinary into something extraordinary. Get ready, because every stone you'll discover now has an incredible story behind it. See you later, gemstone hunter.